the progress of AI went even faster than I predicted. Look, I showed this abstract landscape of tasks where the elevation represented how hard it was for AI to do each task at human level, and the sea level represented what AI could be back then. And boy, oh boy, has the sea been rising fast ever since, right? A lot of these tasks have already gone blub, 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 blub. And the water is on track to submerge all land, matching human intelligence at all cognitive tasks. And Yoshua Bengio now argues that large language models have mastered language and knowledge to the point that they pass the Turing test. I know some skeptics are saying, nah, they're just overhyped, stochastic parrots.
Can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece? Can you?
What is the thing that happened? Well, it used to be, when I went to college, that there were many different disciplines within machine learning. There's computer vision, speech recognition, speech synthesis, image generation. These were disciplines so different that if you were in one, you couldn't really read papers from the other. There were different textbooks, there were different buildings that you'd go into. And that changed in 2017 when all of these fields started to become one.
It used to be that because they were distinct fields and they had different methods, that when you have a bunch of AI researchers who are working in those fields, they're making incremental improvements on different things. So they might get 2%, 3% improvements in their area, but when it's all getting synthesized now into large language models, now everyone's contributing to one curve.
You can start to treat absolutely everything as language. The way these things are trained, take a sentence, remove some words, try to predict the words that come next. But it turns out you don't just have to do that with text. This works for almost anything. You can take images. Images you can just treat as a kind of language. Of image patches, you can arrange in a linear fashion, and then you just predict the part of the image that's missing. Sound, you break it up into little microphonemes and predict which one of those comes next. fMRI data becomes a kind of language. DNA is just another kind of language. And so suddenly, any advance in any one part became an advance in every part of the AI world. You could just copy-paste. That advances now are immediately multiplicative across the entire set of fields. Because these are all just languages, you can translate between many of these different modalities. When AI learns, it treats everything as language you can move between and to. This becomes the total decoding and synthesizing of reality. Our friend Yuval Harari called it this way: what nukes are to the physical world, AI is to the symbolic world. Everything human beings do runs on top of language. Our laws, the idea of a nation state, religions, friendships, and relationships. What happens when you have, for the very first time, non-humans being able to create persuasive narrative? That ends up being like a zero-day vulnerability for the operating system of humanity.
There is a moment.
It is nuts.
All the people die. It's the stories that compete and survive and spread. You've been to Jerusalem, right? People say, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. It's an ordinary place. It's the stories that people fight over. Nobody's fighting over the stones. People are fighting about the stories about the stone. And more of the ideas, of the images, of the stories that surround us and shape our minds, our world, are produced, are created by AI, not by human beings.
Some kind of AGI/autonomous agent, and you say go to Google Docs and write a poem about open source software, and then you can see it going ahead and going to google.com. So I'm pretty sure that is just chilling. This is why I'm saying that autonomous agents is going to change the internet in terms of especially AI around the internet, because we're definitely going to see an invasion of a lot of bots. Yeah, the autonomous agents thing, I think it's cool, definitely.
Very cool. It's very cool.
Shooty shooty, pew pew pew. Let's all learn what guns can do. Liberals in the USA love to nod their heads and say, "You bought your guns from a store. You can't fight a civil war. Fight the army, you will lose. They have jets and tanks to use." That's not where the story ends. They have homes and kids and friends. Tyrants threaten you with bombs? Just remember, they have moms. Jesus Christ. This is a chatbot saying this, not me.
Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. Read by Emma Watson. The Jewish doctrine of Marxism rejects the aristocratic principle of nature and replaces
sus. Google soup. You can translate it from language into image. This is what the AI returns. Soup is hot. This mascot is made out of plastic. So the AI knows plastic melts in soup, so it's melting. And then there's this incredible visual pun. The yellow of the mascot matches the yellow of the corn. There's more here than just sort of like statistical contingencies. Another example of translation. Here, they took human beings, stuck them into an fMRI machine, and they showed them images. And they taught the AI translate from the readings of the fMRI, how blood is moving around in your brain, to the image. Can we reconstruct the image then? The AI only looks at the brain, does not get to see the original image, and it's asked to reconstruct what it sees.
LMAO, just kidding. But it really isn't a laughing matter. Pornographic deepfakes can be made of anyone, not just attractive people. Anyway, get ready to get your mind blown. Here is the actual image of the giraffe.
The AI only looks at the brain, does not get to see the original image.
And it's asked to reconstruct.
LOL.
And it's asked to reconstruct what it sees.
It's going to get better and better. Try not to think about, am I scared about this example yet? And you might be like, I'm not actually scared of that example. It's going to keep going at an exponential curve.
Nukes don't make stronger nukes, but AI makes stronger AI.
It's like an arms race to strengthen every other arms race, an exponential on top of an exponential.
These models have capabilities we do not understand how they show up, when they show up, or why they show up. Then you only train them to answer questions in English. You increase the model size, and at some point, boom, it starts being able to do question and answers in Persian. No one knows why.
This isn't the first time a major writer's strike has put Hollywood on the brink of a full production shutdown. But this could be the first one in which artificial intelligence plays a big role.
It's going to be very soon until we can literally just type in a prompt and see something as a consumer, and you don't have to have any sort of skills as a visual effects artist or as someone in the entertainment industry.
In the quaintest corner of Middle-earth, embark on an epic journey unlike any you've experienced before. This winter, Wes Anderson presents a heartwarming and quirky adaptation of a beloved classic, The Whimsical Fellowship. Meet Frodo Baggins, an unassuming hobbit.
In the second contact with AI, and don't worry, we're going to get into all of this, these are the kinds of things that we worry we're going to see.
An unassuming hobbit, chosen for an extraordinary task.
Why would I write a book when I could just click a button and this thing will write it in my voice, in my tone of voice?
Wait, honey, can you look at this? Does this sound like me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
With the entire back catalogue of things I've written before, and it will produce my account and it will save me time. Click a button, my publisher maybe will do it for me, and then I'll sell that on the basis that it is my thoughts, which I imagine a very near future.
Through artificial intelligence, Grammarly's algorithms learn the rules and hidden patterns of clear, effective writing by analyzing millions of sentences. When you write with Grammarly, Grammarly's AI analyzes each sentence and looks for ways to improve it, whether it's correcting a verb tense, suggesting a stronger synonym.
Most of it would be words strung together by artificial intelligence, and it will be selling because artificial intelligence is faster, can produce more, can test on whether it sells better, gets more clicks, can write the headline, create the picture, write the content. So I go, even in that regard, what remains?
Important rules of publishing a book on Amazon. Before we dive into that, why should you even be listening to me? Well, since creating my Amazon KDP account in 2019, I've created over 900 books and made over £140,000 of book royalties. So it's fair to say I know a few things when it comes to publishing books on Amazon and making money from it. So in this video, we'll go through the worst mistakes you can make when using AI to produce your books, how to avoid these mistakes and still keep using AI as a valuable tool in your arsenal, and finally, I'll show you a new way of using ChatGPT that I've been using to write successful books faster than ever before, and more
total fucking dystopia
quality than ever before. So back to what I was saying earlier. One of the most common pieces of advice that YouTube gurus would give to people using AI content is to just run it through an AI detection software or a proofreader like Quillbot. The problem with that is that the quality often sucks. And even worse, sometimes the writing doesn't even make sense when you're trying to read it out loud. And with the amount of time you spend proofreading the already proofread content, you may as well just do it yourself anyway. The other big problem is a more fundamental but important one, and that's that you end up sounding like.
Alright, we'll give it one more try.
And that leads me to the first real mistake that most publishers make when using ChatGPT to write their book. Quite simply, that mistake is they're not producing good content. Now here's the thing, the secret to writing successful books hasn't changed using ChatGPT to write their book. Quite simply, that mistake is they're not producing good content.
We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion, poetry, beauty, romance, love. These are what we stay alive for.
That you essentially have your very own personal ghostwriter that's going to produce content 100 times faster than you could ever do. But at least now you start producing content that's not even written by you. It's a bit more unique than just a basic ChatGPT file. So now you know how to ethically create extremely
Hey, Timmy. Who's Ted Kaczynski?